Well, good morning, Manna Church. This is Jeff Christensen again, and welcome to part 5 of our look at a life of abiding for Morning Manna. We're diving into John 15 to examine the theme of Jesus as our truest source of life and fruitfulness. So far, we've covered a lot of ground. And remember, if you haven't watched the first 4 parts of this yet, go back and check those out. We've talked about so far the metaphor of the vine, gardener, and branches. We've covered the blessings of the new covenant. But today is going to be a little different. As part of Jesus' teaching to his disciples here, he makes it a point to tell them that they will experience suffering. In verse 19, he tells them, "If you were of the world would love its own. But because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world. Because of this, the world hates you." So he's referring to suffering here, and it's not a short mention. It's actually almost half of this particular portion of Scripture, 13 verses in all, from John 15 all the way into the first 4 verses of chapter 16. So Jesus takes a lot of time here to talk to them about suffering. Why would he do that? I mean, he's just told them about being connected to him, experiencing his love and his blessings. I mean, why kill the buzz, Jesus, and all the good vibes? But remember in part 1, we said that this particular scene in Scripture happens after the Last Supper, and almost certainly no more than 2 hours before Jesus is arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane. This is pretty much Jesus' last chance to instruct his disciples before they face the most difficult challenge any of them had ever encountered. Jesus wanted them to know that there were difficulties ahead, both in their immediate future and also in their work of spreading the gospel and leading the first century church. It was important that they know that they would be opposed and persecuted. It was important that they know that there would be difficult times ahead and that they would be mistreated, and also why they would be mistreated. Some of you have heard me talk about this before. If we make the mistake of thinking that nothing will ever go wrong once we believe in Jesus, and we think it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows and $1 million checks, then we're going to experience some serious disillusionment when reality comes crashing down. That's why the Bible includes books like Ecclesiastes that talk about hardship, even for God's people, and sometimes especially for God's people. I'm convinced that Jesus told his disciples all about this. In fact, he says it right in here that he tells them he wanted them to know this so that they would remember. When hardship came, they would say, "Wait, Jesus told us this would happen, so he'll take care of us." You know, it's important for you just as much as it was for them. Every single one of us has experienced suffering and difficult times. You might be right now, and if you're not, then you know that those difficult times are going to come around again. And Jesus wants you to know that difficult times will come. You will experience suffering. There may be financial difficulties sometimes. There may be an illness, and hard things will happen. You will be misunderstood and even mistreated at times. Jesus wants you to know that. Because when you know in advance, you can remember that he told you it was coming. When you find yourself in pain, you can remember that. Jesus will not leave you unprepared or unprotected. Hard times will come, but he will be there for you when they arrive. He told you they would come, so don't give in to fear. You can trust him. He is there, and he will be with you. Good to be with you today, Manna Church. Come back tomorrow for the final part of A Life of Abiding. We'll see you then.